What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, I want to give you a little bit of a stimulus update because what we're seeing now is Democrats are actually demanding more, but they're demanding more from President Biden. This could actually change things because they're not just fighting with one another, they're pushing President Biden to give them more for the upcoming midterm elections. We also know that today we're going to see more supply chain issues. These are going to start to get a little bit worse. And it's not because of what we're doing here in the United States. It's because of what is happening across the country, okay? In other countries. That's the issue, okay? So I will address what's going on there. Also want to give you more Russia and Ukraine news as well, because we're starting to see we're getting a little more insight as to what is really going to happen. Again, it could go one of two ways. The expectation is, well, you'll see in just a minute. But again, make sure you stick around for this entire video. As always, thank you guys for watching. And do me a favor, if you enjoy these videos, go ahead and hit that like button. But let's get right into it. Yesterday, we heard from multiple House Democrats, and they have been pushing President Biden to simply change his message going into the midterm elections. They say that as Democrats, we need to have a better and more clear message for building a better America. And if you don't know what that means, that is the new version of the Build Back Better Act. Some are saying that we don't do enough to help out the American people. Others say we need to lower gas prices. Others believe we need more affordable housing. Some Democrats say we need to pass the Build Back Better Act or the Building a Better America. These are the keys to winning in the midterm elections. Now, we also know that more lawmakers are open to different ideas to provide relief to the American people. And these could be a bunch of different things. Okay, we know stimulus is back on the table. That is something that many are saying that it is considered. Again, stimulus refers to many ways to provide relief or income to pretty much put it into your pocket. Okay, it's not just a stimulus check. It could be, but that's not the only option on the table. It could come through something like a child tax credit payment. We could see it come from a stimulus check given to the American people through an oil giant tax, right? That 50% tax on their increased revenue. So there's a lot of options. We could see things like student debt forgiveness, which is something that as of right now, the White House is expected to delay the student debt payments, right? Those loan payments that will be due on May 1st. That's the expectation, is they're going to extend the payment pause, push this out another few months. And if they push it out far enough, the expectation is the White House will eventually just do student debt forgiveness, or President Biden will. So that could be a big move as well, because according to multiple reports, the average payment is over $400 for student loans. And if this is the case, and if we wipe out the entire loan, then millions of Americans would actually have $400 or more in additional income that they can use for something else. So it's kind of a big move there. We could see things like larger nutrition assistance. This is something that we've already had in place for over a year. This has really been helping out the American people, because right now, SNAP benefits, if you don't qualify for the maximum amount, that's fine, you still get benefits. But right now, every single person qualifies for the maximum amount, which is huge, which means they can afford more food, or they can, instead of taking money out of their own pocket in their own bank account, paying for food or additional nutrition, right? What they can do is just charge it to their card. And then the money that they used to use from their own personal income, well, they can save that for something else like rent, medications, or whatever they need. And possibly, okay, this is something that was brought up this week. And I hate touching on this because of kind of what this did, but there's also discussions that Democrats could even do something that the former President Donald Trump did. And this is where he issued an executive order to suspend the collection of Social Security payroll taxes. Now, this only happened for a short amount of time, but what happened was he suspended the collection of Social Security payroll taxes. Now, keep this in mind. If the money doesn't come in for Social Security, for the taxes from it, what happens is Social Security actually would lose out on that money. So the money would have to come back at some point. So that's exactly what former President Donald Trump did: suspend the collection for a short amount of time, and then the money would be collected later on, right, to help out the American people for those whatever months they didn't have to pay. Now, here's the issue with that. This has the same kind of strategy that the gas tax holiday has, is that we cut out a certain tax. The American people can keep more of their money initially, but then after a short period of time, they would have to then pay the higher amount. They'd have to pay the taxes, the gas tax or the Social Security tax. And that's what Democrats don't want, because if they suspend it just for a few months, guess what? Or 6 months. Let's say they suspend it for 6 months, which would be a long time, but let's say the gas tax is suspended for 6 months. Guess where that would put us? We're in March. So that's April, May, June, July, August, September. Okay? 2 months before the midterm elections, and then the gas tax would be added back in, which means an additional 18 cents per gallon. Don't you think the American people would be very upset by that? Yes. That's exactly why even Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said this the other day, that the White House is considering this. But they're worried that by implementing a gas tax holiday, that the oil companies would actually be more profitable. That the oil companies wouldn't lower the price. They would keep the price the same, and then they would actually just profit the additional 18 cents. So we'll see what happens there, but again, that is part of their discussions, is let's provide additional assistance and relief to the American people. It's just, how do they do that? Let's talk about our bigger supply chain issues, because we do have one right now that is impacting the United States. And even though we're getting closer and closer to getting out of this pandemic, the problem is in other countries. Because currently, just this morning, and again, you may not know this, but China has a zero COVID policy. This means that they do not want any COVID cases in their country. Now, this is causing a lot of problems, and this isn't just causing problems for them, it's causing problems for other countries as well. Just this morning, China placed one of its biggest cities right next to Hong Kong under lockdown. Then the 17 million residents of Shenzhen, China, are being told to stay home until they can eradicate the Omicron flare-up. This lockdown, it's going to impact 17 million people, and it's going to impact them for 7 days. This lockdown is in effect currently until March 20th. Now, if you are not sure, or not really aware of why the city of Shenzhen, China is so important, this is one of the tech hubs of the world and of China. The city is home of tech giants like Huawei and Tencent. Huawei, just to give you an idea, I believe they're the second largest cell phone provider in the world. They sell more than 100 million PCs, tablets, routers, and wearable devices per year. They're a fairly large company. And so if they're not producing these products, they're not being shipped out, well, this could cause issues all across the world. So major issues there. But let's get into some real major issues right now. And this is the news regarding Russia and Ukraine. Just today, the Russian finance minister says that Russia has lost half of its reserves. And this really hurts Russia's war chest as of right now, because they're already struggling to get through to Ukraine. They don't have the backing that they once thought they did. And right now, just to give you an idea of how behind Russia is, Russia only has 6 troops per 1,000 residents in Ukraine. Now, this is a very low number for the task that Russia is trying to accomplish. And just to give you an idea, I believe the United States, when we went into Afghanistan, I believe we had, I think it was like 19 or 20 troops per 1,000 residents. But we also had more equipment, right? We were more prepared. So having only 6 for every 1,000 residents, that's a very low number. And some say that's not enough for Russia to accomplish what they want to. And it is because of this that the cash reserves that Russia had, this was such a big deal. But right now, if Russia lost half of their reserves, this is really going to impact them. Again, they've only been in this for what, a little over 2 weeks, right? Coming up on 3 weeks, is it? But again, that's the issue. Or actually, I think we're on 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. And so that's the issue there, is they're running out of money quickly. We also know that the current negotiations, according to Russia, they say it is making progress. However, progress and a deal are two separate things. We also heard from the Israeli Prime Minister, and he said he told the Ukrainian President Zelensky just to surrender and accept Russia's offer to end the war. I don't think he's going to do this, but that is what he was told. We've also heard from multiple experts that they believe Russia could be accepting of the fact that Russia and Ukraine will split the country into two pieces, where Ukraine will continue to hold power over the western part of the country and Russia would take control over the eastern half. However, if this happens, this would be devastating to Ukraine, and others believe that the only reason why Russia is moving in from the east first is because it's closer. And they say that if Russia didn't have all the issues that they've had so far, they would have already made it into the West. And that is what they're saying, is it's just taking them longer to make their way through the country because of the Ukrainians fighting back, because of all the other countries providing Ukraine with different equipment, right? Stuff to slow down Russia or really deter them and hopefully get them out of the country. And recently we have seen that Russia has used missiles to strike the western Ukraine, the parts of western Ukraine. Now, by doing this, what's happening is Russia is actually targeting U.S. and NATO supply lines. They're targeting U.S. and NATO training sites for Ukrainian military. They're striking dangerously close to Poland, obviously, which is a NATO ally. They're also striking areas that are flooded with refugees just trying to get out of the country. And so this is a huge issue. And just this morning, we learned that a missile strike killed 35 people. And we also know that one American journalist has been killed as well. So a lot of stuff is going on. And again, it's very sad what's happening. My condolences to that person's family. But what's happening right now in Ukraine, a lot of people said early on that, oh, this is just an issue in another country. This is just an issue in Ukraine. It's not going to impact us. It does. This does impact us. So as we know more about what's going on in Ukraine and Russia and what's going on with stimulus, the American economy, and everything in between, I promise I will fill you in on everything that I learned. So again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.